Ashton, guess what?
The Pelicans lost.
No. So we are 1 hour and 1 minute into this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
It's been on mute for our Twitch viewers this entire time.
Fun.
Yeah, thank you, thank you, Daniel over there for letting us know that we're muted.
There we go.
Can't believe I did that. That's embarrassing. An hour long. Well, here's the thing: if you're listening on Twitch, you can go over to Spotify, you can go over to Spreaker, you can go over to Google Podcasts. Ashton knows the other two that we're on.
We're on Google Podcasts,
Yeah.
iHeartMedia, Podcast Addict,
Oh.
Deezer. We are on what else? Google. Well, I said Google Podcasts. We're on Spotify.
I can't believe that, dude.
It happens, man. Next play mode. Next play mode.
Hashtag live TV, even though we're not really on TV. But I can't believe I just did that. But anyway,
shout out to Daniel for hopping in.
Daniel, thank you for letting us know. Thank you for joining us. What is up? That's a little embarrassing. I can't believe we just went an hour on mute. Last week I didn't record for, 30 minutes. Now this week we're on mute. What sports are you guys talking about? So we'll just give you a quick run cap for the people tuning on Twitch here. So what we do, we talk about the best of the best and the worst of the worst from sports. Ashton, at the top of the show, he talked about just squaring up the people that are kind of hating on the Houston Astros right now. And
yeah, from the top to the bottom. If you're from LA, man, I feel like it's time for us to stop being nice about it, right? It's time for Houston to stop being nice about, like, oh yeah, we let you guys get in your jokes and all this kind of stuff about the trash cans and everything, but now you're taking it too far.
Yep.
Your boy Joe Kelly took it a little too far. Now everybody's got to get it. So if you want to fight, let us know. So the whole city will be there.
Yeah, we broke that down. We talked about Newcastle United and the Saudi Arabian deal falling through. We've talked about the best of the best so far, or this past week for Ashton and I, was the Houston Dash winning their first ever title in the NWSL. Worst of the worst was actually esports related with League of Legends LEC partnership with Neom and then canceling that partnership. We also talked about Big Bang Bosa, Joey Bosa, signing his 5-year, $135 million extension. Then we have our segment where we like Twitch chat to guess, but obviously you couldn't hear us, so you couldn't have guessed anyways. We call it Hi, My Name Is. Ashton has to guess who I'm talking about, and I can't give him easy clues. It has to be kind of difficult, but he is a fucking genius, and so he normally gets it in like 2 seconds. This week it was Lamar Jackson being ranked number 1 by the NFL players. In their top 100. And then when you came in here and told us that we were muted, we were talking about different other like podcasts and shows like that we like to watch and pass it along to other people. And you said we were muted, and now we are picking it up. Right. Oh, and we've got a question from Daniel. Ashton, do you think the Chiefs will be as good as last year or a bit worse, knowing that Darren Williams will not be playing this year? I was wondering what you think, because Darren Williams...
You mean playoff Damien?
Yeah, playoff.
Playoff Damien not playing this year?
Because he was a big part of the Chiefs' success. So what do you think that's going to mean for the Chiefs this upcoming season, Ashton?
So, yeah, they not only... Playoff Damien is opted out, which it seems like I want to say the number's up to like 15, 20, something like that across the league of players opting to not play this season. And Martin, could we, and let's be honest, say this is a direct product of the NFL completely being incompetent in this situation? They were like the kid who had like the essay due on Friday, and they waited till Thursday night to get it done. And they're like, well, we can give you guys tests like every other day, and we can see what happened. By the way, the Bills sent their rookies home today because 5 dudes tested positive, which means more than likely there's going to be more people who test positive. So that's fun. You talk about the Chiefs taking a step back. More than likely, the Super Bowl slump gets everybody. And that's just the reality of the situation. That's the reality of life. I know it's been a dope year for them overall because Patty Mahomes got paid, Chris Jones got paid, everybody else is doing their thing. They've got a couple of rookies. They got Clyde Edwards-Helaire to hop in there playing running back. And you would talk about a guy who his fantasy value is going to skyrocket. He might be the starter. Yeah, he might be the day one starter and be getting 20 plus carries plus not even 20 plus, 15 carries and like 8 catches a game or something like that on a regular basis. And that's a good way to be a rookie, man. You
Yeah.
talk about getting your reps and getting out there and doing your thing.
Here for me, you mentioned it. Clyde is, it's. I don't think they're going to be worse. I just think we're not going to see. We probably won't see as many of those like flare out halfback screens that we saw to Williams, because Clyde's not that type of. He's not really that type of running back. But my fantasy dude, I was drafting Clyde. Like, I had it in my head every fucking draft that I was going to be in this year was going to have, or my team was, I was going to draft him fucking, I don't know, third round.
He's free.
Now I'm going to have to draft him in
he's free because, like, if you have people in your group that are not
on top of
that
things.
are not as well sound on football, right?
Yeah.
They won't even know who that guy is. So Clyde and him basically getting the red carpet rolled out to being the number 1 running back on that team is going to be pretty clutch, man. And on top of that, he's probably going to get involved in some other ways too. I will say this: the number 1 concern for the Chiefs last year was wholeheartedly their defense, and they tuned up their defense towards the end of the season because they got Tyrann Mathieu back into his ultimate form, where he plays at every single level, right? Yeah. That's his best ability. He's a safety that moves around. He plays at every single level. He plays pass coverage really well. He can help you on the pass rush, especially if he's the extra blitzer, not one of the primary guys off the edge or whatever. But that is something to be said. I think the Chiefs take a step back, but not as big as people would imagine, because their division is still trash. Like, their division still sucks. With the Broncos, what the Broncos have been up to this past season, right? Like, Drew Lock looks like he could potentially be good. You got to show me a lot more than what I saw to Drew Lock in the back half of the season, right?
Yeah.
The LA Chargers going through some drastic changes, combined with the fact that they're going to be banking on some rookies to ball out. One of those rookies being our guy Kenneth Murray, right? And anytime you're banking on rookies which, by the way, a lot more people are way more open to for some reason. Like, yeah, CD, like a lot of Cowboys fans, CD Lamb's just going to slide in. He's going to be, number 2 receiver, bro. No big deal.
Yeah, some
like
Cowboys
that
fans,
is
they think he's going to be Michael Irvin
to me.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, you got to give him a little bit of time, but I think Playoff Damien, whatever,
Playoff Damien.
It's going to be, I think the first 4 weeks will be the worst. You'll see like the effect of it the most, like how, because they kind of got into the flow of things last season. Like, they could rely on Williams a lot, and now obviously you can't. And then also you got to remember they had LaShawn McCoy, or they did have LaShawn McCoy last year, right?
Yeah,
they had LaShawn McCoy, and now he's
LaShawn
gone as well.
LaShawn seems like he may have been told some things that weren't true. He played a couple of games at the beginning of the season, right? And sad to say, it seems like LaShawn left a lot of his good years in Buffalo because it was rough going there for a little while. I remember one year he had like a broken thumb, reportedly a broken thumb and messed up ribs and a busted ankle, all going into like week 4 of the season or something like that. So, him getting to the Chiefs, they thought they were going to be able to utilize him a little bit more, and Damien presented himself a lot better. And then, of course, they have fewer and fewer reps for a running back to be out there on the field, right? Because they have so many wide receivers that they need to be able to set up. They operate out of a 3 wide receiver front almost on a regular basis, plus their tight end situation. So running backs are getting fewer and fewer reps for the Chiefs every single year, and that's just how it is, man. But
I think
talked about
my final point before we move on, and he says he knows at the beginning of the year their defense was terrible. By the end, they all stepped up and got 100 times better. Yeah, you could tell the Chiefs are one of those teams. At the end of the season, they were not the same as at the very beginning, and that is a credit to their coaching staff. And Andy Reid being there is going to help the running backs with Williams not being there this year. So, Ashton, let's move on to kind of the second half of the show. We're just over an hour in. Thank you for joining us on our Twitch side of things. Daniel, also, thank you for the follow. Welcome to... We haven't really come up with like a name, how Twitch people, everyone has a name for their chat. We're working on that. You can be a broke boy too, but it is what it is. Ashton, what's going on in sports?
Yeah, man, from the top to the bottom. We start off with a real simple one here. Give you a light appetizer, right, Martin? They crowned 2 champions this past weekend. And, Martin, on a scale of 0 to 100, how surprised are you at the 2 champions we're about to talk about?
Well, one of them, because they're French, absolutely zero. Juventus, I'll go 1%.
1%. So the two French League One, which is where PSG has dominated for like 20 years,
They're the only
because
team
they
in the
have the
league.
most. They're the only team in the league, which is a good point. They represent Paris Saint Germain, is also abbreviated PSG. They get
Yep.
the most international hype. They are a shark in a pond of guppies,
Yeah,
basically.
they're also sponsored by Jumpman, by the way. They are.
Yeah, they're. I remember they had a whole. They had like a whole crossover thing, and they sold out in like 15 minutes. And then a couple years later, I still see that stuff at the Nike clearance store. So I don't know what they sold out of, but I see like those hoodies and jackets all the time at the Nike clearance store here in Houston. But anyway, PSG, led by one of the best two of the best players on the face of the planet, right? Like Mbappe plus your boy Neymar
Yep.
Jr. out there doing their thing. Two of the most dominant or world-class players that are playing in a league that is so much lower in terms of talent overall. And we could talk about Neymar some other day. I remember there was a point in time where I talked about Neymar about damn near every other week on the podcast. And, we can talk about him till you're blue in the face. So anyway, shout out to the champions. Shout out to the champs, PSG, winning another one. Juventus, I don't know if you guys know this or not. You probably haven't seen Ronaldo in a while. It's because he's playing in Italy and living his best life in Italy, and he's been just dominating with Juventus, and they won another one. I think they won by like 10 points.
Yeah,
They won the league by 10 points, which is a lot.
Yeah, his first season in Italy, it wasn't. His first season wasn't the best. I want to say he didn't even make a free kick last year. I could be wrong on that, but I think there was some stat like it was the longest he'd ever went in his career without making a free kick, which is kind of
saying a
interesting.
lot because that's like every other game for him.
Yeah.
So
And PSG, I mean, congrats, you won in the French. Like, it would be more surprised. Like, I would care more if PSG didn't win the French league than if they did.
yeah, that
because-
would be more shocking. Like straight up, it would.
I mean,
be
I
way
couldn't
more
even
shocking.
tell you who the second best team in like
And
LOSC
Martin,
maybe.
Martin,
I don't know.
Martin, you can't tell us who the second best team in that league is, and then when usually when I hear something like that, I like rush to go look it up. I had no urge to go look it up.
Yeah, it is
Like,
what it is.
at all. I was like, who cares? Like,
Yeah.
I'll forget it in a year. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Juventus, but have you seen the uniforms for Juventus next season?
Are
Have you
they
seen-
not looking like referees
well,
next year? Or
Well, I'm gonna let me see. Juventus.
Martin's about to use the
New
magic of the
Jersey.
internet to pull up a jersey. We'll see here. But yeah, this is our segment called "What's Going On," where we just talk about what's going on in sports. Right now, we're talking about Juventus winning Serie A, which, by the way, I have watched Serie A in the middle of the day for this entire weekend. Have not seen Juventus one time. It's because they play in a different time slot, and it's very annoying because they're the only Italian team that I actually care about.
Okay, so this picture is courtesy ESPN. It doesn't have a name under it, but I would definitely courtesy that person. I'm about to pull it over in front of Ashton's face right now for everybody to see. Ashton, I hate black and white because it looks like Newcastle, but you cannot tell me that gold is not kind of fly.
It's pretty whack.
You don't like it?
No, they look like referees.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, they look like barcodes, but that's the black and white hatred in me. But yeah, I can see referees. I see referees, barcodes, zebras. But I kind of like the gold. It looks, I don't know, looks cool.
As soon as they get rid of the black and white, man, we can start talking. You know what I mean?
Oh,
but
yeah,
until
for sure.
then,
But it's
we're not
kind of
talking. They get a 0 swag rating from me.
it's New Jersey season right now. Everybody's putting out their next year's kits. It's
See, Daniel likes it. Maybe
Yeah,
I'm just a curmudgeon. I don't know. Daniel in the chat on Twitch likes it.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what the deal with that is, man.
I don't normally like
y'all
black
have a
and
good time
white.
buying those jerseys.
I ain't buying it. I will. You will never catch me in anything black and white ever. Like I have a. I
It's
think I
vertical
still
stripes.
have.
It's more slimming, Martin.
I think I still have a. When Austin FC first announced their team, they gave out flags and half of it's black and white, and I'm pretty sure I have it at like the bottom of a box in my closet. Because I'm a
Austin
season.
FC on the way, baby.
Yeah, I bought my season tickets just a couple weeks ago and then quit my job. That was smart of me. So moving on, Ashton, the second thing that's going on, we talked about it off the top. the NBA is officially tipped off for the return because they were almost to the playoffs. So we're finishing up the season, and then the playoffs are on the horizon, I guess.
Yeah, so if you're at home, we're talking about the NBA. We got a couple of I got a refresher course for you, and this is for the rest of the season. So I'll give you this little refresher course. I know some of you guys are casual fans and you're waiting on the playoffs. These 8 games are the playoffs for certain teams. So we'll start up. We'll take it from the top. I got a couple of notes here. I got the teams divided up in different categories, and there's certain teams I'm not even going to talk about, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're in Orlando, Florida. If you haven't heard, the NBA is in Orlando, Florida. By the way, Martin, we figured out who was in charge of the NBA Bubble Watch account. You saw that?
No.
It's Nick DePaula. It's Nick DePaula and a couple of other guys. Nick DePaula is one of the best. He's the guy who I get all my sneaker information from when it comes to like guys signing on sneaker deals and everything. Works for ESPN. He's in charge of shoe culture. Love him. Love his Twitter account. Follow it. Him and his friends hopped in a group chat and they were like, yo, we should do this Twitter account together. Something I've always wanted to do, passion project. And that's who's in charge of the NBA Bubble Watch account. So shout out to them. I think they're also doing the WNBA one too, which the WNBA one, a little bit more lit. Not going to lie. Anyway, NBA refresher course. We start from the top. They're in Orlando, Florida, hanging out on the Disney resort campuses, right? We know all the details. I'm not going to go into all the minutia and how meticulous and careful they're being with everybody locked inside, from the magical bands, the rings that detect COVID symptoms and all kinds of stuff like that. I will start here. From today on, there will be 8 seeding games for every single team, which if you're wondering how they selected those seeding games, they just looked at everybody's schedule for the rest of the season and they removed the teams that are not a part of the 22 teams that were invited to the NBA bubble. Those 22 teams were selected based off of the current standings. Any team that was within 8 games of the 8th seed, which is the final seed in the NBA for the playoffs, is invited, or within the top 8 seeds in the NBA is invited to the bubble. That removed some shitty teams. I'm not going to talk about it.
It did, however, get Zion Williamson in.
It just so happened to get one of the NBA's biggest rising stars into a possibility of a situation where he could end up in the playoffs. 8 seeding games. Those seeding games are going to happen. And then they will cut the 22 teams down to 16. And the top 8 seeds from each conference will play in a typical 7-game series to get to the NBA Finals. And then everything is normal from there on out. Those 6 teams will be eliminated upon the finishing of the seeding games. August 17th is when the playoffs are going down. So if you had to write down on your calendar when playoffs are going down, I'm sure they're going to advertise the hell out of it. But August 17th is the exact day. I'm not going to explain the 8th and 9th situation.
Daniel says he feels like the Pelicans, and it looks like he didn't put the second team in, but he said the Pelicans and somebody else are the best team to come out of that layout.
You might be talking about the Trailblazers.
The Trailblazers?
Yeah.
The Dame effect? They had to get...
I mean, they also got Nurkic back. I don't know if you saw that or not.
Yeah,
they got Yusuf Nurkic back, so that's huge for them. That's a game changer for them. That's like making them playoff kit. That lineup that they have now got them to the except Gary Trent got them to the Western Conference Finals last year.
Yeah,
if people remember.
I think if they get one more piece of the puzzle, they could challenge anybody because Damien can win an NBA title by himself. I think he just needs a competent 3, Just
it's Dame, CJ McCollum, and Yusuf Nurkic right now. Those are 3 big guys.
They just need one. Like, see, like if CJ could, I hate to say this, be more consistent. Like, he's one of those. I hate the Trailblazers because of how the dagger that they gave the Rockets, but I still love watching them, especially that 1-2 combo of Damian and CJ back and forth. But if they just had one more person that could take the load off, and just, I mean, yeah, they've got the guy's name I can't pronounce, but just one more
Yusuf
player.
Nurkic?
Yeah, Yusuf. Like, come on. Just one more player to help them get over the hump. They could definitely challenge.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I feel like the Pelicans have on their side that a lot of teams don't, they develop players at a high level. They develop players at like a really high rate in comparison to these weren't, you look at Dame's path to the NBA. And that's a guy who got opportunities and, of course, had the hard work. C.J. McCollum took him a couple years to come around and become the guy that we know him to be today, right? Same thing with Yusuf Nurkic. Same thing with Zach Collins, who is a really talented player who wasn't even starting for the Gonzaga Bulldogs when I said it right. Yeah, the Gonzaga Bulldogs when they were in March Madness, right? He had somebody starting in front of him, and he got to the point where now he is not only a competent second string center in the NBA, but the guy makes moves. And Hassan Whiteside is also there, but we know he's about the truest definition of a 5 in the history of the NBA. So he doesn't necessarily fit the modern day NBA that we operate in. But yeah, we can talk about the Portland Trailblazers till we're blue in the face. They're the most interesting group of players. But I have separated, Martin.
Yep.
Teams and this is to make it simple for people who are not like huge fans of the NBA, right? Or people who need like a refresher in terms of like understanding what's going on in the NBA right now. There are 3 teams that I have written down as title contenders: the LA Clippers, the LA Lakers, and the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, if you see the problem with what I just said, 2 of those teams are in the same conference.
Yeah.
They're also in the same city, which, by the way, LA getting a parade no matter what.
Yeah.
If things shake out the way that if they get there. The LA Clippers, LA Lakers, and the Milwaukee Bucks are my true title contenders, right? And you can make an argument for about 4 other teams that could be on this list. But from the jump coming into this season, the LA Lakers, because they have Anthony Davis, who's one of the most underrated, borderline, and the problem is that Anthony doesn't do the off-court stuff to be deemed a quote-unquote superstar, despite his ability and talent, right? Great basketball player of our time. For sure, LeBron James, one of the greatest ever, right? Combine that with a immensely talented roster that has the likes of Dwight Howard going out there and doing his thing on a regular basis. Avery Bradley was a huge part of that. We'll talk about him a little bit later. Rajon Rondo, a huge part of that. We'll mention him later too. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Josh Hart, a bunch of other guys as well. J.R. Smith, J.R. Switch, baby. He was actually cooking it up in those man, I'm going to tell you this right now. Y'all better not let J.R. Smith go off in these playoffs, man, and y'all never hear the end of it. I promise you. He was cooking it up in those scrimmages, man. He had like 6 threes in a game or something. So the 3 title contenders, the L.A. Clippers, of course, with Paul George and the reigning NBA champion Kawhi Leonard, right? Combine that with you look at what their roster has in terms of Patrick Beverley. They have a lot of other players who match up well with the style that Paul George and Kawhi play, and that's two-way basketball. So that's dangerous. Milwaukee Bucks, of course, they're led by the reigning MVP, probably going to be back-to-back MVP.
Oh, dude, if James Harden doesn't get it this year.
What do you mean? No, I mean it's gonna be your boy Giannis. It's gonna be Giannis Antetokounmpo, sir. That's just how it is. He's playing at a superstar level in under 30 minutes a game, which is insane to think about. Giannis Antetokounmpo probably going to be back-to-back MVP of the NBA after this upcoming season is over when they get to the NBA Finals, combined with Chris Middleton and Brook Lopez, and their very unique style of playing defense. And Martin, this actually makes a lot of sense when you look at the math. They give open shots to bad shooters.
Yeah.
Which, if there's anything, Martin, play pickup basketball, right? Ain't nothing like a wide open shot for a person who can't make a shot to begin with when it's contested, right? We all know this. They can't make a shot when they're contested. Leave them wide open, they'll miss the rim completely. So that's their style of defense, and it's worked out for them really well. It's gotten them the number 1 seed in the East. Those are my 3 title contenders, the LA Clippers, LA Lakers, and the Milwaukee Bucks. The dark horses that are in the running, I think in some way, shape, or form, if these teams ended up not only in the NBA Finals but winning the championship, I would not be surprised, and it wouldn't shock me. It all comes down to how well they're going to gel when they get into the playoffs. It all comes down to what are they going to do in those clutch moments that are defining moments of the game, right? I got 5 teams on here. The Miami Heat, because culture. You don't know, because culture. The Houston Rockets, I believe in the small ball, baby, mainly because they're my hometown team. But I believe in the small ball, dog. I really do. It's an interesting concept, and if it pans out, Martin,
no,
it could change the very existence of basketball as we know it.
It could, but Mike Trash Tony's not a good coach. I'm sorry.
Wow.
That's just how,
we don't have time for that conversation. We really don't. We don't have time for that conversation that you just, man, you.
No,
it's something wrong with you, Martin.
No,
it's something wrong with you.
Dude, trust me. I am not a fan of Mike Dan. Like, you know how I feel about Bill O'Brien. Like, I'm on the fence. I am as far away from the fence as I can be with Mike D'Antoni, and there is nothing un- until I see him raising the Larry O'Brien Trophy. There's nothing he can do to prove to me that he's a good coach. I'm sorry. That's just how I feel. I've seen it time and again. He does not make adjustments when he needs to. He does like he doesn't he just
This guy.
he doesn't adjust. He completely wasted Clint Capella. And that's how I feel. And
That sounds like a conversation for another day. It
exactly,
really does.
it does. I'm just putting it out there.
Just
I
putting
don't.
that negative energy out into
It's
the
not
ether.
negative energy. I hope the Rockets. I want another Houston championship. You kidding me? I just hope it had been any other coach but Mike D'Antoni. Like, ugh. But yeah, keep
That's
going.
haterade to the extreme.
No, it's not. It's
Martin is like, I want the Rockets to win. I just don't want y'all to give a ring to D'Antoni.
yeah. Don't give it
or credit or anything. Don't erase him from the history books.
I don't agree with it. I don't agree with
dark horses. So I got the Miami Heat cut. The Miami Heat cuts culture. I wonder how well they're going to do because they were absolute garbage on the road, but amazing at home. They had lost like one game at home the entire NBA season, mainly because South Beach and its temptations are very effective, especially when you're playing the next night. If you're a visiting team, the temptation of South Beach is just too great. Many could argue. Yeah. Anyway, the Toronto Raptors, the reigning NBA champions, I'm calling them a dark horse in this situation, man, because the fact that they've lost a guy who could have been and probably should have been MVP last year based on, even though Giannis is amazing, right? Kawhi Leonard clearly took it to a whole nother level the back half of the season where he carried that team despite being injured. That iconic shot that he made in the playoffs versus Joel Embiid and another defender who was closing out on him, and just the killer mentality that Kawhi exists with, right? Those guys lost him. Possibly the number one player in the NBA last year, number two player in the NBA last year, lost him, and they're still in heavy playoff contention because of the talent, because of the talented defense that they've been able to put together. Nick Nurse is a great coach, and they still have Marc Gasol, a veteran mind, and when it comes to playing basketball, combine him with a couple of talented guys who operate outside the perimeter. The Toronto Raptors could, sometimes you gotta pour some water in it, shake it up, and make more out of it. That's the kind of situation the Raptors got, right? And on top of that, they in transition, they're deadly. The Boston Celtics, a team that I feel like has been on pause because they've always got some excuse for why they didn't win the past couple of years after Kyrie got there, after Kyrie left. And now this could be the year that Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and with Kemba Walker, they go out here and Brad Stevens is able to cook up a championship, man, especially with Enes Kanter, one of the better offensive centers in the NBA. They could be the only challenge in the East for any of those teams in the East, and possibly for the Clippers and the Lakers, because their two best players, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, just so happen to play the same position as can be matched up easily with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard on any given day, right?
Yep.
And Patrick Beverley has to deal with Kemba Walker when they're playing defense, man-to-man defense, and that's a problem. Kemba Walker's a great basketball player. I think that puts them in the conversation for being a dark horse to win an NBA championship. And of course, last and definitely the least, the Dallas Mavericks. I believe in them, man. I really do. I believe in the Dallas Mavericks. I think they can get it done here, Martin. I believe in Luka. I know it's his breakout year. I know he's changing the way that we look at how basketball is played because of his size, combined with his maturity, but combined with his ability. Same thing can be said about Kristaps Porzingis, who we could argue, because he's had all this time off, is healthier and had a chance to mitigate the fact that, we are all, and I don't know who taught us this. Maybe it's just a consistent barraging of it from the media about how ACL injuries you recover from in a year. Mm-hmm. And that's just not true.
Especially basketball.
Yeah, especially basketball ACL injuries, which is like a freak situation most of the time, right? it takes like 1.5 to 2 years to actually recover from an ACL. So it just bought Kristaps more time to work on some stuff that he probably needed to get tuned up. We'll see how they play when they go out there and they get it all together, because I think the 3-ball is going to be the difference maker for them. Yeah. And I mean 3-ball from somebody other than Luka, right? Mm. And that's my series of dark horse teams that I think could really shake it out. I'm sorry, go ahead, Mark.
No, I was just got a quick question here from Daniel before we continue to move on. How do you feel about the Nuggets when they were scrimmaging their starting lineup with all big men? And Ball came in clutch, I think, right?
Yeah, Bol. He was knocking down threes, man. He's got the juice. I like it, man. And once again, that was a big point of information, right? Like, coaches are constantly looking for situations that could come up later on in the season, right? Like, not to say they're going to have a point where they need to start like all centers or all big men, right? They are going to have a point where they need to see how these two guys interact with each other. And that's something that some of the NBA coaches were not experimenting with, right? There's also, Martin, this goes back to the fact that it all but proves what we thought earlier, what we were told earlier by Brian Windhorst's podcast, The Hoop Collective. They had 8 dudes to start the bubble, right?
Yeah.
The Denver Nuggets showed up for the first day of the bubble, and they had 8 people. So half their roster was sick.
Yeah.
Or half their roster wasn't there for the first day of being at the bubble. And that probably is what set them up, because they had to be in quarantine at a different time period than the people who initially got there. So they weren't eligible to play in the first couple of scrimmages. So that it's a good way to get some looks, man. And sometimes, especially with those scrimmages, you just need to get looks, man. You really do. It could come up later. It could never come up ever again. But it's good to have that information, especially as a head coach, especially a head coach for a team that they're gonna have to weasel their way around some of the gaps in their team, right? Like, their 3-ball is effective, but I talked about this last year when they were in the playoffs. Jokic keeps them in every single game that they play.
Agreed.
Jamal Murray is the guy who has to win it for them.
Yep.
And yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mark.
I was just gonna say, I want to see a 7-game series between the Nuggets big ball and the Rockets small ball. Like that, I think that would be
puffing, dog.
Just imagine, like, you've seen like the creative shots that are coming out of the bubble games, like, you know, like they've got the cameras in different spots now because they can put them there where there's no crowds. But I think that would just be cool, you know, to see 4 or 5 fucking 7-foot and taller guy, or however tall they are, just running down, and then you've got fucking Russell Westbrook playing center for the Rockets running the other way. It's fucking, I think that would be interesting to watch. But that's Ashton's breakdown. He's got the Clippers, Lakers, and Bucks as his 3 top contenders. He's got the Heat, Rockets, Raptors, Celtics, and Mavericks as his next dark horses. And then the teams that he is looking forward to watching: Memphis Grizzlies and the New Orleans Pelicans. Ashton, let's get into a couple of quick hitters. We don't really want to talk too much about these. We just want to get it out there. Number one, the
Magic City got dope ass wings.
Dude, so the Magic City Lou Williams thing was gonna be my what's poppin' before the the Newcastle thing happened.
You thought lemon pepper wings. Pepper wings is what's poppin'.
One of my favorite. One of my favorite stories that has come out recently, like one from COVID just in general, and 2 just recently, that Magic City is getting free publicity out the fucking ass.
And they don't even need it.
They don't need it.
It's a legendary strip club.
Exactly. And it's crazy how many people love their food and stand up and are like willing to go out, because, you know, like, the sex industry, that's a totally different subject that we could have an entire episode on, but it is still to this day kind of, you know, not politically, it's kind of still frowned upon, you know, like,
because y'all are whack, bro.
Yeah,
like y'all try to act like we're not all adults who
exactly
the physical appearance of other human beings or like
exactly.
to have sex. Come on,
exactly.
Man. Like,
so,
you know,
it's just been funny to see, like, random ass dude from like Johnny Manziel even spoke up. Like, of course Johnny Manziel knows what the food at Magic City is like. Who else? Somebody else, like, random tweeted out that they love the wings at Magic City.
I feel like we're the outsiders in this situation because we don't know how good the wings are.
That's what I'm saying, bro. That was gonna be my what's poppin'. Can I please get some Magic City wings? Like, what do I have to do to get some Magic City wings?
Postmates.
I'm heading to Atlanta, dude. Like I can't wait.
No, don't do that. Don't do
Oh
that.
yeah, that's it.
That good story came out. The Magic City
Yeah.
story, by the way. I think we're all on Lou Will's side on this one. We
Oh
get it.
fuck yeah,
We
dude.
get it. You got to quarantine him or whatever. But I think we all support Lou Will
Bro,
in
he's got
this
his own. He's got
situation.
his own flavor at the place. Like you can't. You can't blame a dude and his that's the thing. It wasn't just him, wasn't it? It was like his whole they went to a funeral, and after the funeral, they went to Magic City to get some wings. Like it wasn't to go watch what goes on in Magic City. It
By
was
the way,
literally
telltale sign. It was like just after lunchtime.
yeah, like they were just going to get some
That's
wings.
not the A squad.
No,
That's not the A squad in the strip club.
no.
Sorry, guys.
So shout out to Lou Williams and Magic City getting the free press. I love that story. Ben Simmons is moving to power forward. Shake Milton moving over to point guard. The 76ers are on the brink of destruction. Quick question, Ashton. How far do you think it has to go for everyone to keep their jobs?
I think Brett Brown's fired no matter what happens after this season. The other thing, I want to say Eastern Conference Finals, but I feel like NBA Finals has got to be do or die, man.
Yep.
Like the desperation move, I consider the moving of Ben Simmons to power forward to be like the last ditch effort.
Yeah. Apparently he's hitting threes right now, though, so that'll be interesting to see. But I agree with you. It is championship or bust for the 76ers. This will kind of put in perspective the process from start to end if they win it or if they don't. But it'll be interesting to see. Giannis, his free agency's coming up. Does he stay in Minneapolis? For me, does he stay in Minneapolis comes down to how popular of a superstar.
Milwaukee.
What did I say?
No,
Minneapolis.
You said Minneapolis.
My bad.
Yeah.
Milwaukee. Sorry.
Yeah, it's a cold place that has an M in its name. I get
My
it.
bad. But how popular does he want to be? I think convinces him to come back and stay with them or leave.
Yeah, you know, man, you look at it and you're just like, well, what if they get to the Eastern Conference Finals? That'd be the furthest he's ever gotten in the NBA playoffs, which would be a sign of improvement. I think it comes down to if they do get bounced in the Eastern Conference Finals, do they get smoked? Or does it come down to like some heartbreaking like Game 7 thing that gives him this drive to be like, that's unfinished business. I need to come back and do it with this squad, and we need to get a little bit better. And perhaps he sits back and he waits for some guys to come to him.
Yeah.
Like he waits for some free agents to come to him, because that seems to be the thing with LeBron, right? Like LeBron very rarely has to worry about whether or not dudes want to play with him, like basketball wise, right? Mm-hmm. And he can just, especially if you're in a good market, the good players will come to you eventually, right? If you talk about good sports market, Boston. I know it's not great for people of color who play sports there, and that's been like universally reported across the board, right? Mm-hmm. If you're in New York, you get one good guy, and now everybody's got an excuse to try and move to Brooklyn, which is what happened with the Nets. You go to LA, LeBron goes to LA. Now everybody in the league has a reason to want to go to the Lakers again. And that's a real situation. That's a real thing that goes along with this. And maybe, just maybe, Giannis can sit still or take a seat and in a small market team get some big market names to come hang out with them, because they saw what happened in the Eastern Conference Finals and they believe in what they saw. Who knows?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see because also how much money do the Bucks have to be able to give him? I don't feel like they're one of the more richer.
Don't worry, man.
They'll find a way.
That's the beauty of a flexible league cap.
True.
When you have luxury tax to hold you back instead of an actual hard cap.
And then second to last thing here on the NBA, there's a couple of players that are going to be missing or just not even playing. The Lakers, Avery Bradley and Rajon Rondo. One for family reasons and protesting. Rondo, he has a thumb injury. He had surgery. And then 6 key players that we're not even going to see at all. Bradley Beal, Kyrie Irving, DeAndre Jordan, and then Kelly Oubre Jr.
Yeah, Kelly Oubre Jr. is a big point of emphasis because he and Natasha Cloud, who Natasha won the WNBA championship last year with the Washington Mystics. We mentioned her on the podcast before. She signed a deal with Converse to be a part of their whole shoe brand that they're launching for basketball again, right?
Yeah.
Kelly Oubre Jr. did the same thing 2 years ago to become the face of that Converse shoe brand and the existence of that shoe brand, right? Now both of them are not in the bubble. Like both of them are not in either of the bubbles, the WNBA bubble or the NBA bubble.
So no Converse shoes.
There are Converse players,
Oh, okay.
but they're too big. They're too big signees. They made a big deal about are not there, and that in the shoe wars that's huge, right? Especially when you have a small army in the shoe wars, the sneaker wars, as I like to call them. Nike's got everybody under the sun, right? Nike is the default in the NBA. Yeah. So.
And then finally, the last NBA topic that we want to talk about on today's show, and this was going to be my best of the best because he's had a bad rep for some of the things he said in his career.
He's got an interesting rep.
He's got
right?
an interesting, Yep.
It comes off like the guy's very intelligent. It also comes off like he is
a little out
at the
a little
same
out there.
time.
But Kyrie Irving, he's started a $1.5 million fund for the WNBA players who chose to sit out due to personal, professional, health, and or safety-related reasons. And that's not the only thing he's been doing, Ashton. There's been like 5 different noteworthy things. Because I think it was like Bleacher Report or somebody put out a graphic of like the things Kyrie has done just since the pandemic started. And if you want to talk about what he's doing with the NBA, I'll pull up the other things real quick that Kyrie's been doing.
Yeah, so Kyrie's been an interesting guy. Of course, the biggest stink that he caused media-wise off the court, besides the great play, they call him Uncle Drew for a reason, right? And talk about getting that brand expanded out to like a high level. Uncle Drew started off as a character he portrayed in a commercial, and it turned into an actual full-length feature of a movie, which is a little insane to think about. But Kyrie Irving, most famous thing that he's done off the court is, of course, say that he believes the earth is flat, which, once again, he was at Duke for a semester. So, Kyrie Irving, truly talented basketball player, but him going out here and making taking money out of his pocket and possibly, and I think what I read, the door is open for other people to donate to the fund.
Yep.
So other people can give money to the WNBA players who chose to sit out, because if you don't know anything about the WNBA, it's a lot of moms. They got a family to take care of, and they can't be about the whole, like, I'm going to get sick and potentially put my family at risk with the whole situation. So that's a real thing.
So I've got the list here. Since the year started, so just 2020, Kyrie Irving has donated $323,000 and 250,000 meals to people living in New York. He's donated $200,000 Beyond Burgers to food banks in New York City. He's donated 3,000 masks and 2 trucks of food to the Standing Rock Sioux tribe. He's produced a TV special seeking justice for Breonna Taylor, whose killers are still not arrested, and started the $1.5 million fund for WNBA players who opted out. So, gotta give.
You can say whatever you want about we can have a discussion about if the earth is flat later.
Yeah.
God damn it, Kyrie Irving. I gotta applaud you.
Yeah, you got to, man. He didn't have to do any of that, and he did it. And just gotta give him credit. You know when people say you hate to see it, you love to see that shit. So
you love to see it. You really do, man. Shout out to Kyrie Irving and putting that money where his mouth is, right? Like, he talks a lot, and he put a lot of effort into it, man. We got a pretty interesting conversation we got going up here. Martin, you want to start it off here, man? You want to explain to the people what the hell happened?
We got 2 more quick hit, like 2 more final things of what's going on. And the only thing my first reaction to the Jamal Adams is traded to Seattle. I think we talked about it on last week's show. But the back and forth between Jamal Adams and LeVeon Bell on Twitter, it's almost like a boyfriend or like 2 people have broken up and they're both still on social media, like sort of
they're subtweeting each other.
Subtweeting, yeah. I couldn't remember.
It started off as a subtweet, and then mad respect to Jamal Adams. He quote tweeted, and he was like, "Say it with your chest."
Yeah,
I say it right to you right now. So,
Bell came out and said, "People do all the hooting and hollering to get you brought in just to leave. LOL. Like, people weird, yo. The internet got these dudes doing whatever for attention, even when they tell you shit they don't believe themselves." Jamal Adams, like you said, quote tweets it, and he just says, "Noted. See you week 14. And then Jamal Adams comes back. "Noted? What? LOL, that you lied?" please trust that is noted then. And if I'm supposed to take CU in week 14 as a threat, I don't. God, dude, this is like high school just relationship drama to a T. But it's all still love, and like I told you on the phone, I want the best for you. If this is the best for you, I want it for you, bro. What man, dude, that is that's prime time NFL drama right there. It's great.
You want to fight? You want to fight or you want to fight, man? Let me know. Like it's literally like we're fighting or not.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes sometimes it's a little bit more nuanced. Of course, most of the time it's a little bit more nuanced than what we can put on Twitter, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's Twitter is the perfect tool if you ever want to be a headline writer at some point in your life, because that's a lot of what goes into it. But Twitter fingers here situation: Jamal Adams and like you said, Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell, of course, had a rough season last year because of well,
yeah. Well,
the
here's the
Jets
thing.
are trash on the offensive line. So there's that. Other thing, yeah. No, I'm sorry.
Or just one thing, Ashton. You could tell who's the saltier one of the two. You could
Yeah,
tell
because
which.
as soon as the energy of like, yo man, I'm trash talking you isn't reciprocated, now you're all like, oh man, it's all love. I love that for you if you love it for you. You know what I mean? Now
Yeah.
that's the textbook. Like, I was never mad. You misread the context, and I was like, oh no. The situation can change. Like, once you saw that Jamal Adams wasn't mad at you because he happy because he packing his bags, right? And he's going to Seattle and become a part of a Super Bowl contender, and maybe, just maybe, rebuilt the Legion of Boom. We don't have time to have that conversation, but we'll talk about it a little bit later on. Yeah, and you see the energy's not reciprocated, or like, oh, we're not going to trash talk each other on Twitter. I can't look like the asshole here.
Yeah.
So I'll be, I'm just gonna chill out and be like, give you the whole like, I'm happy because he technically could be very upset that Jamal left, and also happy that Jamal got exactly what he wanted.
True. I mean, if I spent a year on the Jets yeah, dude. Like the Jets are dysfunctional to say the least. They, for some reason, have Adam Gase right as their head coach.
Adam Gase, man.
Adam Gase, yeah. Like there's a bunch of
wide
questions.
open serial killer eyes.
Like there's
which, typically would be a good trait for a football head
True.
coach, but
Yeah.
apparently not working out for him too well.
Yeah, I just yeah, that was an interesting exchange. I don't know. I mean, Le'Veon Bell has a point. Like Jamal was one of the main reasons he went to New York apparently, and then one season later he's up and gone. I mean, but then again, you gotta remember, people say the NFL's a business, and the players themselves have to see themselves as a business. Like
and of course, I'm sure Jamal and Martin, this, he made it pretty evident. There was a point in time where Jamal Adams, because he's a rookie, because he just got there, he was like, I'm gonna be the change, right? Like, there's so many people who want that. They like, I want to be the change that turns this franchise around. And then when you see why the franchise can't be turned around, and you realize it's out of the hands of the player that's in that situation, what else can you do? Like, they're not listening to me. They're not listening to me. Nobody wants to take my opinion into anything. And then on top of that, I'm limited by what my coaches are capable of doing. And if you get to a point, Martin, where you're a professional athlete and you get paid for how well you play, I'll be damned if I'm going to let somebody set me up for failure.
True.
Especially when you have this could, and quite frankly, man, Jamal could be in a point in a year now where he will never have the leverage that he had to get this trade done, right?
Yeah.
And that's a real possibility for him. That's a real possibility for a lot of players across the league on a regular basis. So get it while you can, because they're going to get you while they can, right?
True.
That's
exactly.
a real thing in the NFL.
Like, if he wants, the thing is, Jamal Adams probably sat down. He said, look, I wanted to be the change when I first got here. It's, despite my playing my best and doing my best, it's just not, things aren't getting better. I need to win a Super Bowl by the time my career is over. Let me go to Seattle, where I could potentially.
If he don't win a Super Bowl, his daddy will never let him hear the end of it. His dad won a Super Bowl with the Giants.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
So our final topic before we get to UFC, breaking down Fight Island and or not Fight Island, excuse me, bring down last week's fight and looking towards.
Why, Martin? Why
Sorry.
would you bring up?
I don't know.
Sweet
I got
Island?
Pavlov's Fury there. Talking about UFC, we're talking about Fight Island for 5 months. But yeah, we're gonna get to UFC in just a second. But our last topic we want to talk to you about what's going on in sports, Ashton. You and I text message each other quite a bit throughout the week, and this was one of our conversations that we had.
One of the least surprising conversations
One of the
that we
least.
had.
We even call. I guarantee there is a soundbite of one of us calling this, that the MLB's plan was not going to work, and they didn't even get out of opening weekend without having an
Yeah,
outbreak.
man.
They
We're
didn't
3
even
games into the season, and 17 players and two personnel members of the Miami Marlins have tested positive for COVID-19. And Martin,
they knew.
Story has it is because they went out in Atlanta.
Oh, tell me they didn't go to Magic City.
I doubt they went to Magic City, dog. Like, I doubt they went to Magic City.
Could you imagine a team full of baseball players showing up to Magic City? That'd be.
I'm sure
hilarious.
It happened. I'm telling you right now, Martin. The people that work in Magic City are impressed by nothing at this point that they've seen. Out of the things that they've seen rappers in Atlanta do, out of the things they've seen regular people come in there and try and wild out and do, out of the things that they've seen professional athletes come in there and do, and probably politicians as well, they're not impressed by a goddamn thing that comes through that door.
Nah. And like I just said, it's alleged that the Marlins knew about the outbreak and decided to play.
They hopped in the group chat with the Phillies and was like, "Hey man, we got COVID. Y'all still trying to play baseball?" No.
And didn't tell Philadelphia, didn't tell anybody in the Phillies that, hey, we know we've got positive cases. Went out and played, which I believe spread to the Phillies. It spread to the Phillies as well, right? Like have they confirmed if the
Phillies have two members of their coaching staff confirmed to have COVID-19.
And have they confirmed that it was from the Marlins yet, or probably not?
I would imagine you hang out with a group of people that's got 18 positive cases. While stretching the dark, you probably caught it from that group of people.
Yeah, that was wild. That should. And then the craziest part of it, Ashton, is Major League Baseball didn't have a plan in their 100 how many pages deep plan they had for COVID-19. There was nothing mentioned about what happens if there's an outbreak.
Martin, there is a difference between not having a plan and recognizing that there is no scenario where we stop this. That is what's happening, because the reaction to the situation has been what, Martin? Guess what? We're not all in quarantine. Y'all two are in quarantine.
Yeah.
They got the Phillies and the Marlins off for a week, which from my understanding is not enough time. With the COVID-19 situation, takes 2 to 12 days for the incubation period. So dudes can be tested negative right now, which, by the way, people tweeted out because this situation happened on Sunday, right? People tweeted out about how the Phillies had all their players test negative. And it's like, well,
you gotta wait.
That doesn't necessarily mean anything yet.
Exactly. Yep.
You know, they could test positive outside. They could test positive outside of this 7-day window that you're creating, because they canceled 4 series between the two teams, right? They were supposed to play the Yankees, and somebody was supposed to play the Blue Jays, who I guess they playing in somebody's backyard.
Yeah.
They're supposed to play the Blue Jays, right? And they canceled all those games for this week. And I'm like, well, what's going to happen? So y'all are risking that the incubation period is 14 days long or 12 days long. And just outside of this window of hey, we stopped them from playing for 8 days or 10 days. And then some guy tests positive on the 12th day and he becomes active while he's on the fucking field or on the plane to the game. That's what it sounds like is happening here. But that's the worst case scenario. Of course, naturally, I hope everybody's going to be all right, and I hope there's no problems. I hope everybody recovers from this, because there's a lot of people to catch COVID-19 in a facility that just so happens to be in the goddamn hotbed of COVID-19 in America, right?
Yeah, so MLS, 0 positives in 2 weeks in a bubble. NWSL, 0 positives in a bubble. Who else have we got in a bubble? We've got the NBA currently in a bubble, and what was it? What they say the past?
Martin, even technically the UFC is in a bubble, bro.
The
way they treat the fighters, only the fighters and people who are personnel are in the hotels.
So for
for those fights.
so yeah, so the bubble philosophy, the bubble technique that leagues and health officials came up with, not a lot, if any, positives once things got going. MLB wide open, traveling the country, city to city. They have an outbreak in the first weekend. So, you know, it.
Hopefully not a sign of things to come.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
and here's
hopefully with this situation, people start taking it more seriously because
Yep.
let's be honest, Martin, there's dudes that don't believe this shit is real
Yeah.
that play on Major League Baseball teams.
Well, here's my thing. Now, it was almost another what's poppin'. The take that some people in sports are hoping that COVID-19 cancels everything. I don't think there's a single person out there that actually believes that. Like, you can say, oh, this so and so journalist wants sports to fail. Do you understand what that's saying? That you're
risking
saying
their job.
Yeah, one, they cover sports, and two, you're saying that that person is hoping another human being gets a virus that we don't have a cure for. Yeah, you can say the death penalty rate is like there's no cure for it yet. So for you to say that some sports people are wishing this on other people, just kick rocks.
Some people are wishing that they didn't have a job in a month because they cancel your entire season.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Doesn't add up, bro.
It doesn't make sense for the people that say that. But Ashton, before we get to the UFC, Daniel has got a question that you might be able to ask. Do you guys have an Instagram account set up? And what are our other social medias?
So our Twitter handles are right above us here. If you're watching on Twitch, which you should be on Brokeboy Twitch, twitch.com/Brokeboy
TV,
Sports.
Twitch.tv.
TV. There you go. Follow me on Twitter, FB_playbook, and I tweet throughout the show. The live link to listen to us live and also the live link to watch us live on Twitter. So look out for those as well. Look out for check out Martin on Twitter at Martin Pape, MartinPape_. Martin's also got his other Twitch channel where he plays, as he phrases it, mediocre gameplay at its finest.
Yes.
On Chrome TV. And tell them how to spell Chrome.
Qurome. It's lately we've been playing GTA 5 roleplay, and it's been quite fun. But yeah, that is where we're at. But Instagram right now, we're working on the Instagram side of things.
My Instagram is I post all the graphics that we make and do like a post about like listen to the show on my Instagram at the Ashton Forever. So TheAshtonForever. The Ashton Forever on Instagram. Working on the group Instagram. Also working on iTunes still. Working on that. So if somebody from Apple could hit me up and explain to me how I have an Apple ID, but for some reason I need an iTunes store login to get to submit our podcast for publication. But anyway.
Yep. So we're working on having an Instagram account out there, Daniel. But thanks for asking. Thanks for following along. And now, Ashton, let's get an update on my nicknames, and let's pick some nicknames for the next fight, because UFC, we've been rolling right along. We've been making people money. Last week's fights, how would you, before we get into the nicknames and everything, how would you describe the fights that we saw last weekend?
A lot of fun, man. I was rooting for Darren Till just because of the picks and everything like that. You would have ended up being 4-1, right? I think that was it. Would have ended up 4-1. You went 3-2, which is good. You're 13-7 overall on the nickname picks. And if you want to explain a little bit more, man, the way we select so the UFC is a sport that some people are into and some people aren't. I will say this: we live in an age where nicknames are not as prevalent as they should be, especially in sports. The UFC, pretty much every single fighter has a nickname of some sort. Any fighter that's worked his mustard has his or her own nickname. Having a dope nickname is 50% of the battle.
Exactly. Think of all the crazy armies and stuff. They've all been known as something, there's always been something alongside them that adds to their mystique. So you can go out there and be just John Jones. But what about when you're sitting down, you're in the weight room, and you're like, "Fuck, man, I've got to fight John Bones Jones." It
changes the whole aura.
Exactly.
It adds a mystique.
And like Darren Till, I still don't understand why he's called the Gorilla. It doesn't like there's some nicknames it's like why, but then there's other ones that's like hell yeah. So that's how we do. That's how we pick our fights here. With
Solely based off
holy
how
sh
dope your
wait
nickname is.
wait hold on, Ashton. I am. Have you seen this? I don't know how official this is. Conor McGregor has accepted a fight with Khamzat Chimaev.
I'm gonna need some clarification on that. What
It's coming out from TMZ, which you can take it.
questionable?
It's either
Questionable.
it's either questionable or 100% legit. That's where TMZ lies. Conor McGregor has accepted a fight with UFC's Khamzat Chimaev, but there has been no official date set.
Yeah, there. Yeah, I mean, that's cool. That he basically was just like, yeah, I'll fight that guy.
Well, oh
And
yeah. So Khamzat tweeted out, "I'm getting bored, Dana White. Please give me Nate Diaz, Jose Masvidal, or Conor McGregor. You could even do it on the same night. I can smash all those guys. I'm not cocky. I'm just confident." And then
by the
Conor,
way, Kazmat is the guy who dominated that card.
dude, he is.
His opponent, Rice McKee, got 0 strikes in.
Yep. He dominated Fight Island. He is by far gained the most from Fight Island happening
No
because
doubt.
he was there ready to fight in a different weight class 10 days after already fighting and letting a
The
guy land
Chechen
two punches.
Wolf.
Yeah, dude. His first fight, 2 punches landed against him. His second fight 10 days later, as you just mentioned, 0. How often does a 0 punch landed fight happen, dude? Like that is
And if you saw it, you felt bad for Rice because Rice McKee is the guy's name he fought, and apparently he's supposed to be like
mhm.
big time prospect, right?
Yeah.
And he
Just
it was like they were in 2 different leagues, right?
Yep.
Like they weren't even, and Kamzat is already talking about he's trying to get to rank guys because he's trying to get that big money. I respect it, dog. You never know how you got to take advantage of the leverage while you got it, man. But Kamzat has already made it pretty. He's made it very clear. You got to show him that you're better than him. He don't give anything away. So
I would love to see that Conor. I mean, I'd love to see Conor fight anybody because I'm a McGregor stan. But I would love to see it because Khamzat has proved he's proved that he belongs in those 2 fights. Yeah, he hasn't struggled, but he has proved that he needs better competition. And
yeah, he about 3 or 4 fights away from calling out dudes for $1 million paydays. I'm telling you that right now. Although I say that, and Gilbert Burns was set to fight Kamaru Usman for a title. So.
Yeah. But there, one quick question with Khabib coming back and saying he wants to go 30-0 and then retiring. Who would you like to see him get matched up with? I would like to see him going against George Rush St. Pierre.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen. Jorge, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We're talking about Khabib. Don't try and tear down my hero. George St. Pierre, one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest of all time. GSP crushed souls, baby. He and Kamaru fight very similarly. I will say that. So I'm just saying, he wants to go 30-0. It'd be cool. Man, to a certain point, like who's actually giving him any trouble? Remember, the biggest opponent that Khabib has ever faced is himself, right? Like he missed multiple fights because of weight cuts. He had one fight where he missed weight, and he had another fight where he ended up in the hospital because he tried to cut too much weight too quickly. And apparently he's training like everything's all right. And because even in the wake of his father's death, he's still putting in the work and staying busy and everything like that. But right now you look across the board and you don't see like a very clear opponent for Khabib, and that's a problem, right? Yeah. You'd like to see perhaps him versus Jorge, because Jorge loves to claim that he's a bad motherfucker. Well, I'm telling you right now, the baddest dude in the UFC is hands down Khabib. Like John Jones, for whatever you have to say about him, he's a legend, one of the greatest fighters of all time. Khabib is on a whole nother level. Like he's a soul crusher, right? Most people, when they get their ass beat by John Jones, you see it coming a mile away. Khabib is here to take something permanently away from you as a person when he fights you. So
So Daniel, you might be new here. Ashton knows my my thoughts on Khabib.
We're not saying it right now because Khabib is going through a period of mourning, and we respect him. His dad was a huge influence on MMA.
I'll just put it out there. I'm not the biggest Khabib fan. However, I will give him credit where credit is due, just like Usman. They're champions. However, that doesn't mean you have to be a fan of them, shall we say? I just Here's the thing. When he
How's he
fought
gonna
Conor,
weasel his way out of saying this? He wants to say something really mean and disrespectful to Khabib. He's trying to weasel his way out of saying it right now.
Here's the thing. Before the Conor fight, I said this is the best chance to get a 1 in the loss column for Khabib before he fought Conor. Then he absolutely dismantled Conor for
there you go. It wasn't that hard.
For 2/3 of the fight, he completely dominated Conor. And before that, we said Conor is the only chance. So I'm going to say right here, Justin Gaethje is now the only chance we have or I say we, as in people that are anti-Khabib. Justin Gaethje, I am now your biggest fan. I am going to go back and watch all your tape and
you saw him fight against Dominic Cruz in quarantine.
Yeah,
Dominic was making fun of it was Keith Peterson, right? Because he said he was drunk while he was in. He's like, yeah, I smell the cigarettes and alcohol in your breath, bro. And I was like, well, maybe you need to mind your own business, Dom. I don't really care. I don't give a damn what Dominic Cruz says. He was grabbing at Justin's leg, like for hope and a prayer to try and work his way out of that, trying to recover. But I don't feel bad for him at all taking that L.
No, I am notorious. I am notorious for not liking Khabib. It is what it is. You have preference. Like, what's weird, personally. So Kiev, the Chechen Wolf, is called
Chimaev.
He's called the Big Khabib, right? The 2 fights I've seen of him, I've fucking loved, and they do not resemble anything in Khabib. But it's weird to be a fan of him when people say he's just like Khabib. But I just don't. I'm sorry. Like, he's a good fighter. He's a champion. Congrats. I just don't like the way he fights. So let's.
I need you to say he's a great fighter, because let's be honest, he's a great fighter.
He's a champion. Let's get into these nicknames.
God damn, you a hater to the grave, man. Anyway, we move on. I'm not gonna lie to you, ladies and gentlemen. You're not gonna get much entertainment out of this, out of these selection of nicknames. Unless we come up with some really funny jokes here coming up pretty soon. I doubt that'll be the case. I got a little appetizer for each one of these fighters for you, like I normally do. But this is back to the normal 12 fights card. Last week was the biggest fight, tied for the biggest fight card in the history of the UFC. Was 15. I think the largest card, the same amount of fights was put on UFC UFC 2 ever, and this is back to 12. It's a fight night, so it's free for people to watch, which I'm sure is going to mean they're going to get mad ratings on this one, even though this will be the first weekend the UFC's had other major sport competition, right?
Yep.
So the NHL starts up Saturday. NBA is going right now. They start up again on Friday and Saturday again. They play throughout the course of the weekend. And what else am I MLB's back. So this will be like the first big weekend where there's a lot of competition. So we start from the bottom here. This guy's from Greenville, Texas, so we got to root for him. And I think he also fought earlier in quarantine. Mm-hmm. So Chris El Guapo Gutierrez, if you know what El Guapo means, that's a strong one. He's fighting a guy whose last name is Durden, but he is not Tyler. He is Cody Durden. So he's Tyler Durden from Fight Clubs.
Yeah, how does he not go with how does he not make that his
Cody
nickname?
Tyler Durden.
Yeah, because dude, all right. Speaking of like the mental games, you're getting ready to fight somebody whose nickname is fucking Tyler Durden, and for anybody that's seen Fight Club, that means that dude's down to fucking fight.
Yeah, no, he's down to scrap. Anyway, big miss on Cody. Cody's 11-2. Chris El Guapo, we got to root for him. He's a Texas guy, and I think he's out. I think Greenville's in the Valley.
It is.
Okay. El Guapo Gutierrez, you got our support, bro. We root for all Texas fighters. I will say on this card, there's a Houston versus Dallas fight, so as we always do, #fuck Dallas.
Hell yeah.
No offense to Dallas, just fuck Dallas.
H-Town, hold it down.
Somebody clip that, please. I need that soundbite of just. Okay. Anyway. This is, I think he's a DQ on this one. This next one, Martin. Jamal Pretty Boy Emmers.
Okay.
Right? It's DQ, right? Because Pretty Boy is Floyd's nickname.
Yeah, that's overused.
Pretty Boy Floyd. So Jamal Emmers does have a nickname. He's a DQ. We don't allow repeat nicknames. But I can also tell you he wasn't going to win this fight to begin with. He's fighting Timur Lucky Valiev.
Okay.
Why was Jamal not going to win this fight, Martin?
Is homeboy from Dagestan?
Yes, he is.
How many fighters are out of there now, dude? That's like 10.
Dagestan is Dagestan out here strong, baby. They're the MMA fight capital of the world. And on top of this, not only is he from Dagestan, his nickname is Lucky, which technically DQs him because there's a female fighter whose nickname is Lucky. I don't know how that works. There has to be like a prominent, like a super prominent fighter that has a nickname Lucky. So I'll allow that one. Jackson Wink is where he trains at. So he's got like the best MMA gym in the world, plus being from Dagestan. I mean, come on now. Cards are stacked against you, baby. I don't know what to tell you. Good luck to Pretty Boy. I don't think that he's going to be very pretty after that fight's over. Win, lose, or draw, by the way. Yep. Doesn't matter. If you know, you know. If you know the deal. This is Marcus, for the next fight, Marcus Maluka Perez. He's 12-3. Maluka means madman.
Ooh.
Marcus Madman Perez, 12-3. He's fighting, and this may be in contention for weakest nickname on this entire card, Eric Zebrina Spicely. 12-5. He's got 6 submission wins. Zebrina is Portuguese, and it's short for Little Zebra.
What?
Yeah, I don't.
Okay.
I'm not in charge. I just follow the rules, Martin. I just read what the translation said. This is Ray Borg. I didn't know Ray Borg had a nickname. I thought Ray Borg was like one of those standalone names, which is strong because there's a lot of good cyborgs. Yeah. But Ray Borg, his nickname is he's a pretty prominent fighter in the UFC at one point, potential title contender. Ray the Taz Mexican Devil Borg, 13-5. Versus Joseph, and he's got 3 names, so I don't know where the nickname goes in here. So it's Joseph Nathan Manis, and I wrote it as Joseph Mayhem, which is his nickname, Nathan Manis, which by the way DQs him because Mayhem Miller is a really prominent fighter, so it doesn't even matter. He's 11-1 by the way, so that guy's pretty good. Oh my god.
Oh my god, that have you seen the height the difference in that?
Yes. There's another one that's like that. Go ahead, tell the people, Martin.
So the people at home, Ray Borg is 5'3" with a 63-inch reach. Nate, or whichever, Joseph Nate, whatever, he's 5'8" with a 72-inch reach. 5 feet difference and almost 10-inch reach difference in the same weight class.
That's some John Jones shit. That's some
crazy.
John Jones versus DC level shit.
Yeah.
This is a good one. It's so close to a really funny joke. This guy's name is Ed Short Fuse Sherman.
Okay.
I need you to look at a picture of him, Martin.
Ed Short. Hold on, I'm typing
Ed Short Fuse Sherman. While Martin is typing it up and looking at it, he's from Portland, so he's from Portland, so he's been maybe going through it a little bit there. Hopefully he's all right. Hopefully his family's all right. But Ed Short Fuse Sherman, you got a picture of him?
Yeah. What about him?
Would you care to share with the people what he looks like?
Yeah, I can.
So
this is from UFC.com. Courtesy, it goes to whoever took the picture because I can't find it right now.
So if you see that, Ed is a ginger. Okay.
What's going on?
Ed's a ginger, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is ginger a slur? Let me know.
No.
Okay, don't know. I'm just saying, people make it seem like it's a slur sometimes. You know, you ever those words that people say with hate?
Yeah.
And you're just like, is that a slur? Did you make it a slur just now? Anyway,
isn't there a fighter like the Jinja Ninja? Isn't there?
What?
Isn't there a fighter?
I don't know. You're gonna have to show me that one. Ed Short Fuse Sherman looks a lot, perhaps, like one Ed Sheeran. and has a similar name.
All right, it's
Anyway,
coming over in front of your face right there.
there you
Your
go. Ed
red,
Short,
all
Sherman,
red hair, everything. Courtesy UFC. Thank you for whoever took that
Portland,
picture.
Texas. I'm sorry, Portland. Wow, Portland, Washington. I don't know why I said that. George, this is actually, he's fought multiple times in quarantine. No, this is his second time fighting in quarantine. This is Gerald Meerschaert. GM3 is his nickname. He's 31-13.
I've seen him fight like
wins.
20 times.
Yes, he's a good fighter. 31-13, baby. This is the oldest guy on the card, I think. Frankie, this is the next fight. Frankie Saenz, and he doesn't have a nickname. He's 12-6. He's 39 years old. 39. And another guy from Texas, Martin, 11-3 from Plainview, Texas. I don't know any famous people from Plainview. I almost said Adrian Peterson, but that's Palestine, Texas. That's way different. Jonathan Dragon Martinez.
Ooh,
I feel like Dragon. No, wait. Isn't Lyoto Machida's nickname Dragon? Which would DQ Jonathan. I don't know how you're going to get picks out of this, man.
We might have to go do away with the...
might have to do 3.
Might have to do, yeah, or just not do the DQ since it's such a weak...
I'm just saying, these guys got to come up with better nicknames.
Yeah, like, Lyoto was the Dragon.
There you go.
So for now, he's DQ'd, but if we don't have enough to put together...
he may be... everybody may be on the table.
Yeah. All right.
So we move on to the next fighter. This is
the main card.
This is the main card. And Martin, it's a rivalry that will never die. It's Houston versus Dallas.
Yeah.
And I feel bad because I'm counting Fort Worth as Dallas, and I know that's a big sticking point for Dallas people.
Yeah.
So Fort Worth is Dallas, so fuck you guys.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is Trevin the Problem Giles. I'm not going to lie. I'm not impressed by the problem.
Which one's from Houston?
This guy, Trevin the Problem Giles, is from Houston. He is 12-2, and no matter what happens, even if Martin doesn't pick him, I'm still rooting for him. H-Town, hold it down. You know how it goes. Kevin, the other guy he's fighting is Kevin Trailblazer Holland.
Okay.
Really corny for me because my high school mascot was the Trailblazer. Kevin Trailblazer Holland from Fort Worth, Texas, 17-5.
Yeah, your nickname has to put some sort of like maybe fear. I'm not scared of a Trailblazer.
Okay, there you go. That's a little too inspirational.
I also ain't scared of no one from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. H-Town, hold it down.
All right, somebody clip that one too.
You're not even seeing. The best part is you haven't even seen what I've been doing when I say H-Town.
You're probably putting your hands on me like H-Town, hold it down,
yeah.
like throwing it. Yeah. Favorite meme on the internet, hands down, is Bobby Hill throwing up these horns and people pretending that he's throwing up the H for H-Town. Somebody flipped it around one time, and I was like, I need this in my life forever. I need it printed on a T-shirt. I need it as a poster in my room. Because H-Town, and then they spell it like H-Town, hold it down, which is like how people from Houston would say it. So it's even better. Anyway.
Hold on, Ashton. Daniel says, before Daniel heads out, I enjoyed. I'm definitely tuning in again. Have a great night. Daniel, thanks for the follow. Thanks for hanging out. He had one more question, Ashton. If you were in the UFC, what would your nickname be?
Oh, man.
I mean, Ashton's already got a nickname, though, so...
Oh, yeah. I could use my actual nickname from when I was an MMA fighter.
Yeah.
My nickname is Ashton Crash Gene Lewis.
Which is quite good because it goes within like it's a tongue twist, not a tongue twister, but like alliteration a little bit, and yeah.
The reason is because when I hit people, it feels like a car wreck.
Ooh,
that was what they said.
Ooh, nice, I like it. If mine would probably be Martin Redcoat Pape because I'm actually British.
I would pick that. I would pick Redcoat. That'd be hilarious.
I'm actually British. I've lived in America for a long time, so I don't really have the accent anymore. But all of my friends still call me a Redcoat. People used to make it sort of derogatory towards me, but I don't take it in that way, shape, or form at all. So yeah, I think it would be Martin Redcoat Pape versus Ashton Crash Gene Lewis, and yeah, two good nicknames.
Let us know who wins in the comments.
Yeah, who would you pick between the Redcoat and Crash? That would be a good one. But yeah.
So especially the two different weight classes that we're in. That'd be hilarious. Catchweight fight.
Yeah.
By 150 pounds.
All right, let's keep
Moving
rolling.
on.
Yeah. Let's keep
Yeah,
going.
we got 4 fights left after this one. This is Lando, which, by the way, you should pick him just for the first name. But his name is Lando Groovy Venata.
Lando
He
Groovy.
is 2-2-1 in his last 5 fights. He's 11-4 in his career. Lando Groovy Venata.
What's he doing on a main card with a record like that? That's a little
11-4. 11-4 is not bad.
2-2-1. No, that's a
2-2-1 in his last 5.
Huh.
That's weird, right?
Yeah.
This could be do or die for him. This could be like cut not cut type situation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, agreed. Yep.
We got a familiar face here. Bobby King Green.
Did I pick him before?
Yeah, you did.
I think I have picked him in the past, and I think
he's
lost.
25-10, 8 TKOs and 9 submissions. I don't think he did lose.
Oh no, he beat Clay Guida on June 20th. Yeah.
Man, that's fucked up because Clay got his ass whooped.
Yeah, it was a decision.
Yeah, Clay's a legend. Clay the Carpenter Guida, by the way. So yeah, we got Lando Groovy Venata versus Bobby King Green.
Nice.
And Bobby's got more than double the amount of wins that Lando does.
Yeah.
So we move on to a familiar name, like if you're a UFC fan or like an MMA fan in general, Vicente, the Silent Assassin Luque, 18-7, 10 TKOs. He's 5'11". I bring that up for a reason. He's fighting Randy Rude Boy Brown, who is Jamaican. 12-3, and he's 6'3". So a 4-inch height difference. That's sizable, and you'll notice it in the ring.
Yep.
You'll notice it in the octagon. 18 wins from Vicente Luque, the Silent Assassin. He's got 10 TKOs. Also, we'll say one of the few nicknames you can put at any point during the name, before, middle, or after, and it still works.
True.
So we move on to the penultimate, the co-main, as they like to call it, because everybody who's in the second fight, the penultimate fight is a co-main for some reason. It makes a big difference money-wise. Yep. But this is Joanne Jojo Calderwood.
Okay.
She is 3 of 5 she is 3-2 in her last 5, 14-4 from Scotland, Glasgow, Scotland, versus Jennifer Maya, who does not have a nickname. She's 17-6. By the way, the main event doesn't have nicknames either.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh God.
That's how bad this card is nickname wise, man. The last 2 fights have 1 nickname between the 4 fighters.
Okay, well, I'm gonna pick nicknames, and then I'm just going to pick the main event.
Yeah, out of respect for the main event.
Just because I feel like that's. Yeah, we have to. So
I don't know why, Dana. I don't know why we're signing fighters who don't have nicknames. What's the deal here?
All right, let me go through.
What? Yeah, come on, man. Like, what is this amateur hour shit where we don't have, I need a nickname. I need something to put on your T-shirt. Like, come up with one. Make it up. I don't care. We move on as Martin is making his final selections because of how quickly we went through this card. Derek Brunson, who is a very talented fighter. He's on a 2-fight win streak. He fights out of the gym. Hard Knocks 365. He's 20-7 on his career. And then the up-and-coming superstar, used to be a punching bag for Ronda Rousey, grew up, and his primary sport was mixed martial arts. Different kind of guy. Edmund Shabazin, 11-0, 10 TKOs in those 11 bouts. Undefeated. One of the only undefeated fighter on this entire card.
So, yeah, so I'm looking at this fight because it wasn't supposed to be Shabazi.
No, Holly Holmes' opponent actually came down with COVID-19. Hopefully she's all right, and they had to scrap her fight.
Okay, that's
Holly is actually, if you follow Holly Holm on Instagram, she's a pretty fun follow because she's always working out and she's always like doing fun stuff. Like she went on vacation because she's just like, yeah, I don't have a fight, so I'm out.
And Edmund, for those watching it, or for those interested, has ended at from what I can see. I can't see past it though. His last 3 fights in the first round.
Yeah.
I'm trying to pull up a deeper fight. Okay. So fight history. Here we go. Round 1-1-1-1. He's had 1 fight go outside the first round, and that was the Ultimate Fighter finale.
Dude's a beast.
Yeah.
So Martin,
All right.
It's time.
Yeah, let's wrap up the show. Let's give you these picks, and then we'll send the folks on their way. My nickname picks, Ashton, are going to be Marcus Maluka Perez,
The
The
Madman
Madman.
Perez. Yeah.
Yeah, going with Marcus. Ray, the Taz Mexican Devil Borg. Bobby King Green, because he got me a W the last time, so we're going with him again.
Okay.
Vincente, the Silent Assassin Luque. Joanne
Oh,
Jojo Calderwood. And those are my nickname picks, okay? So
he's going 5. Wow.
I'm
Big
going
time.
five nickname picks for this one, all right? And then I'm just gonna pick the final fight. This one doesn't count towards my record.
Right.
Um, man, how I've seen Derek Brunson do some. Didn't he knock out Lyoto Machida? I,
Yeah, but hey,
that
you
was
can't,
towards
you can't be
Machida's.
too impressed with that.
Yeah, I mean, let me
Can't be
see.
too impressed with that kind of stuff.
I mean, it is.
You can't. You're right. He's a legend.
He lost to Israel in 2018. After, you know what? I'm gonna go the undefeated
Go with,
guy. I'm
yeah,
gonna.
Edmund.
Dude, here's the thing. I wouldn't be surprised if Derek Brunson just knocks him out and makes it look easy. But this guy, every fight but one isn't. He's won every fight but one. He has won in the
Right.
first round. So I'm
He's
gonna go with the
vicious, baby.
undefeated. He's only 22 years old. Edmund
Yeah, and
Shabazian.
he used to well, his whole thing is that he trained with Ronda Rousey on her way up, like while she was on her way up to becoming Ronda Rousey.
Yep.
So he trained at her gym all the time, and he was around a lot of really talented people. So he's a product of the gym that he was in. So there's a lot of theory that says that he could potentially be the next step in mixed martial arts.
Yep.
Because, like they said, I read an article. They were like, "Yeah, his primary sport his entire life has been mixed martial arts."
Yeah. He's
Like,
born to do it.
right, like that's his thing. Like that's what his style is mixed martial arts.
Yep.
Which, if you know anything about different martial arts statuses, he's never had to transition his sambo into mixed martial arts. He's never had to turn his karate. He's never had to turn his Muay Thai, his kickboxing, and all kinds of other selections of his kung fu from martial arts into MMA, which is a totally different sphere, right?
Mm-hmm.
He never had to add the type of punching, the type of kicking, the strikes, and the ground game and everything. He already was taught that from the jump. So he's got a lot of good fundamentals, and he seems to be prepared for mixed martial arts. That's what he's been training for his entire life. So he's got, like I said, he could be the bridge to the next level.
Agreed. And this is another one of those cards where it's more of a look, depending on who wins, type of falling, like it's more of a future card, if that makes any sense, than like a present day card. Like there's no one on this card that their next fight is going to be against a champion. Like
Right.
this is more of a stepping stone. You're giving this guy his first main event. He's 11-0 going up against a guy who has fought the current champion in middleweight with Israel and has also knocked out Lyoto Machida. It's a prove it to Dana and everybody, and I'm looking forward to it. Just about every card that UFC has put out. I can't remember the last time I wasn't excited for a UFC or not, like wasn't anticipating Saturday to come for the UFC card, and
It's
that
because
is
we're out here having too much fun,
dude,
man.
it's been awesome. And talking about fun, Ashton, before we wrap up the show, Thrive Fantasy, our partner, is a daily fantasy sports app for player props. They've eliminated the need to do countless hours of research. You can go on to Google Play or the Amazon, or not the Amazon, your Apple Store, download it for free. If it's NBA or NFL, choose 10 out of 20 player prop options, build your lineup. If it's MLB, PJ Esports, 5 out of the 10. Each prop has a fantasy point total associated with the over or under based on its likelihood to occur. Rack up the most points to win a share of the prize pool. You can use promo code BrokeBoy when you sign up today, and you will receive an instant $20 bonus on your first deposit of $20 or more. You can also go over to their website, www.thrivefantasy.com, sign up, and hashtag PropUp today. Make sure you use the code BrokeBoy. Ashton, it's yours.
Don't say we never did anything nice for you. Follow us on Twitter at follow me on Twitter, FB_playbook. Follow Martin on Twitter at MartynPape, MartynPape_. Follow us on Twitch right here if you're watching us on Twitch. And on top of that, you can find the podcast on Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartMedia, right here on Spreaker as well if you're listening live. Podcast Addict, Deezer, and a bevy of other ways as well. Hit me up on Instagram at @TheAshtonForever and check me out there. Other stuff to check out as well. We'll be back next Thursday. Make sure you're tuning into the NBA. NHL starts on Saturday. UFC's on Saturday as well. You can check out basketball from like here until it's over. Anyway, only one thing left to say here, Martin. Go home, Roger.